Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from Arnie's. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
This is Alan Karpik with Mike Marks, 64 years young today, and he is, at least for all of us that are in the northern climes, he's not in the northern climes today. He's down in Florida enjoying hopefully his birthday, but also a little bit warmer weather than we're going to have for the winter storm we're going to get in Lafayette. Mike, happy birthday. You were an outstanding linebacker that played on some very, very good Purdue football teams up to 1977 to 80. And welcome to the Arnie's birthday Zoom. I know this is the highlight of your life to be able to do this.
It is. Thank you, Arnie. I appreciate having me. It is a great day. It's always good to be on the right side of the side every birthday.
Yeah, no doubt. And we don't, none of us take that for granted. All right, we talked about a couple of things I was going to ask you. One thing I always ask, and this is birthday traditions growing up. And you grew up, I know you from the Chicago area, went to Leo High School. Tell us about family birthday traditions, if you had anything and all that.
Oh yeah, birthdays are a big part of my family, always have been. I am from a very large family. I have 10 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
So when God only knows how many nieces and nephews and grandnieces and nephews now, but historically we would always celebrate a big birthday at the house with my brothers and sisters. I have 8 brothers and 2 sisters. And that tradition has continued, a little less because we can't have 100 people at a birthday party, but we do for the special ones, like, all the zeros, 60, 50, those kind of birthdays. But my current family, I have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and 2 grandchildren. So just celebrated a special birthday for my oldest grandson. He's 3, just turned 3. And the little guy, the younger one, is just turned 7 months. So that's the highlight of my life right now, quite frankly, is spending time with not only my children, but my grandchildren. I tell you, you don't appreciate it until you get to be this age, what a joy it is to have a family that you can actually spend more time with as opposed to working. I retired 3 years ago. And now I get to do that. All the things I wish I could do more of, I get to do now.
Yeah, it's the world's greatest job, they say, is being a grandparent and after a career. Tell us a little bit about your career and what you did professionally after you left Purdue. And maybe one quick thing, like I said, Mike was a part of 3 consecutive bowl victory teams for the Purdue from 1978 to 80. But tell us a little bit about your professional career and what you did professionally.
I shortly after getting out of Purdue, actually not too shortly, because the job market was horrendous in 19.
Yes, it was.
It took me about 9 months to find a job. I wanted to stay in the Chicago area where I grew up and where my family was. So while I had job offers elsewhere, I ended up getting into the commercial group insurance business. So the healthcare delivery side, healthcare payer side. Started 4 years, I worked for Metropolitan Life selling group health insurance. And then I moved to Blue Cross Blue Shield, where I spent the next 35 years of my career and retired from there 3 years ago as the senior vice president of our commercial division. So had a great career, made many, many great friends, actually spending some time with all those other Blue Cross retirees down here in Blue Cross, as well as some of my classmates down there. So it was a great career, great business. Was able to, I can't tell you how many times when I meet someone, they said, I have Blue Cross and, you saved my life, or it was wonderful. And I had nothing to do with it, but it was the kind of job that you don't get the rewards on a day-to-day basis until you talk to someone that was affected by it. And that's a great thing. So I felt really good about my career, where I worked, what I did.
When you had, you played at Purdue during a time with the junk defense and a defense that played was very good. You had some, I'm sure, had influences on that coaching staff or whether it would be fellow teammates. Talk about those, what that meant to you, and maybe how that framed your personal and family life, but also your business life in terms of what you learned as a player at a very successful time for the Boilermakers.
Right. I will tell you, we had a special group of guys, not only on the defense, but on the offense. I was actually recruited to come to Purdue, and I was recruited by Jim Young, but to go to Arizona where he was at. But I ended up going to Purdue because of Alex Agase. He was the coach then. And quite frankly, he was an outstanding recruiter, but not a very good coach, unfortunately. But Jim Young came in the next year, took a bunch of guys that we had and recruited, obviously, folks like Mark Herman and Bart Pearl and that group to come in and took the best of us, quite frankly, right? I don't think we were the most talented group of guys, and developed both a defense and an offense around our talents. And we excelled as a result of it. And I think that's what great coaches do. You don't have trying to fit players into something they can't excel at. He created a defense. Quite frankly, Leon Burtnett created a defense, which quite made us one of the top defenses in the country for a couple of 3 years running there. And it's really taken advantage of. We weren't the biggest, we weren't the fastest, but putting guys in the right position to make plays. We had some great players for sure, Keena Turner, folks like that went on to the NFL and all pro. But other than that, it was a bunch of regular guys who played their heart out for each other. Quite frankly, some of the best times of my life, and still enjoy getting together with a bunch of those guys every time we have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, so you had the opportunity to do that last week with the Mullenkoff, and that saw some of those pictures. Had to be fun, and it's just fun to. It's like you said, a privilege to be able to get back with the guys every year, and you never take that for granted. Okay, now I want to know what your dreams when you think about that play, and maybe what you're most known for. Like I said, you did a lot of other things at Purdue, but the interception on Indiana's 2-point conversion attempt in the 1980 game that sealed the deal for Purdue. And we have that image, or we've got that replay on Twitter. We're going to link that to the site. But man, you showed unbelievable athleticism. That was not an easy play to go get that ball. What do you remember about it, and what's in your mind's eye? What do you think about that when you make that play, or do you think about that every year in the bucket game? How does that work in your wheelhouse?
I don't necessarily think about it, but Pete, anytime I'm with Pete Quinn, he reminds me. So no, it was kind of what Coach Young and the philosophy that Pete, some of the people he brought in, he was kind of way ahead of his time. He brought in some guys that I forget what this guy's role was, but he was not on the athletic staff, but he taught you to basically think positively, right?
Yeah, the visualization, right?
Visualization. You can visualize the play. And I remember that. In fact, I gave an interview to the Exponent after that game and had the same conversation. I visualized making that play in the moment that it happened. Saw where the quarterback was going to throw it. I was lucky enough to be close enough to get to it because I'm not the fastest guy in the world. And laid out. I will say, and Marcus McKinney is also in that play.
Yes.
He said, Mike, if you didn't knock that, I didn't intercept it. I actually knocked it down.
Yes, that's right.
If you didn't knock it down, I would have intercepted it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the better athlete got to the ball first.
Marcus McKinney, that's right. I misspoke because you did knock it down, and Marcus McKinney, the pride of Barberton, Ohio. You had some talented guys, but like you said, that talented enough. But boy, did you guys work together in one of the best defenses in the history of Purdue football, certainly from that standpoint. All right, you got a chance to. I assume you have a chance to stay at least a little bit in contact, or at least watch Jeff Brom's teams and what you've seen out of the Boilermakers. A 9-win season, not quite to your 10-win season, obviously in your junior year. but certainly a step in the right direction. What do you see from Purdue football these days, and how much opportunity you get a chance to watch the Boilermakers throughout the course of the year?
I get about, unfortunately, I only get about one game a year. I should probably go to not that far away. No, I'm very excited. When they signed Jeff and then re-signed him, thank God.
Yeah.
I was very excited. I don't know if everybody's probably seen that. I think it was on Twitter or maybe on Facebook when he was playing in the XFL.
Oh yeah, let's play football. Yeah.
And what his interview when he came back to play, he said, "This is football. Let's go play." That's a mentality from my era, and I think he's instilling that on the kids that he has, which is tough. I know kids are different today. What it takes to get them excited about playing together. I think Jeff has done a really good job of pushing that or embodying that same feeling within them. I think they get the most out of what they got. I will say, I think they're getting better as a defense. I think as that they mature on the defensive side, offense, they can score points for sure. You got to keep the other team from keeping up with you, and I think they're getting there. They have they had a pretty good recruiting year this year. I'm excited about what's to come next year with the players they have coming back. They should be a contender for the title.
Yeah, and they have an opportunity and a home schedule to boot that opens with Penn State on that Thursday night, September 1st. Going to be exciting from that standpoint. Well, you know it. Well, you saw it when you played and what it took to turn around a program and be a part of that. You know, you look at that in your business life, and the last question for you is just, that turnaround. You talked about Alex Agase recruiting you, and Alex Agase, that opportunity he gave you, and yet Jim Young set a tone. What did that teach you, do you think, in terms of organization, or just to focus and being able to turn an organization around and have that unprecedented success of winning 3 consecutive bowl games?
Yeah, I have said this, and I was just having a conversation with a young man I was playing golf with. I got hooked up in a foursome.
Yeah.
I think, and I still think this today, particularly about athletes. That was one of the things when I was, putting together a sales team or a team that worked for me, particularly bringing folks into the organization. I actually looked at that sort of background because I still believe today it teaches a number of things that kids don't get exposed to when you don't play organized sports, particularly team sports. It's really, collaboration is the buzzword of business today, and there is no better collaboration that takes place than on a team, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, I don't care what, than sports, right? It's not about the individual player. It's about coming together, melding together to perform overall as a team. And an organization wants that. You just don't want one superstar salesperson. You'd like to have a team that can deliver across the board to drive your organization's success. And I think when you put together like-minded people, whether they have a sports background or just a background which required them to work a little harder, someone who paid for their own college education, someone who did volunteer work above and beyond. Those are the type of attributes that I look for when I put together my team at my organization. And quite frankly, when I brought new folks on to the organization, young kids out of school. So it worked for me. I had a really, really successful career. We grew our business more than tenfold in my career there. So I think I left it in a good place. And but again, I can't say enough about the experiences that I had playing organized sports, particularly at Purdue. Not only the team aspect of it, but the winning aspect of it, right? That going from mediocrity my freshman year to the top of the heap by the time we were juniors and seniors, having one of the best teams in the country, ending, I think, 1979 in the top 10. So again, some of the greatest years of my life, but also gave me some life lessons that I carried forward through life. And I hope I pass them on to my kids and a bunch of young people along the way.
All right. Well, you had at least an opportunity with our audience to do just that. We appreciate that. We hope that whether it's fishing or golf or a good meal today, I hope it's all of the above. And we'll look forward to seeing you, I'm sure, up here in West Lafayette. And one thing about your class, and we're led by Pete Quinn. We got to get a Pete Quinn mention in here. You guys do a great job of staying together, and that makes a big difference in terms of carrying on the tradition of Purdue football. So have a great rest of the day. Best to you and your family. And we will appreciate also Arni's for supporting the Arni's birthday Zoom. Always have a lot of fun doing it. Have a great rest of the day, Mike.
All right, Alan. Thank you. Have a great one yourself.